Good morning. Welcome to the 16th video in our study of the book Fundamentals for Following. Today's topic is Devil 101 or maybe Ego 101. But really, the topic is it's all about him, meaning it's all about the devil. And so we're going to look at a few basic things that we find scattered throughout the Bible, and that's the reason why this is kind of important, because most people don't get this all in one setting like we're going to try to do it here today. So you're going to learn some basic things about the devil that you may not have understood or realized, and it's all right here in the Bible and Scripture, but it's just kind of smattered with about. So if you don't read some in the Old Testament, or maybe you just don't read the Bible very much, then you wouldn't know a lot of this. So this is going to help you to get a better understanding of who he is and how he operates, what his personality might be like. And so we're going to pull that all together today. And let's get ready to rumble, and we'll learn more about our evil enemy today. So let's jump right into the book here in chapter 3, or fundamental 3. This section of the book is called "It's All About Him." If you've looked at the book. So all about him. So basically what we're going to be doing here is looking at some things about the devil, and then the "it's" part, it's all about him, is the ego part. So our enemy, the devil, is known by three main names, each with its own meaning. You might be familiar with these: devil, Satan, and Lucifer. Devil means slanderer. Satan means adversary. And Lucifer means morning star. So devil is slanderer, Satan is adversary, and Lucifer is morning star. Now, you may not have known this, but Satan is a fallen archangel. That means there's only 3 of them as far as I can figure. So he was one of the most important created creatures in all of existence. So he was a fallen archangel that led a failed rebellion in heaven. The fact that he led a rebellion to overthrow God is astounding, and gives us our first clue about our enemy. His ego is over the top. He thinks he's bigger than God. Now let's read here from the Bible. We're going to read from Isaiah chapter 14, verses 12 and 14. It says, "How you have fallen from heaven, O morning star, son of the dawn." And that's referring to Lucifer. O morning star, son of the dawn. "You have been cast down to the earth, you who once laid low the nations. You said in your heart, I will ascend to heaven. I will raise my throne above the stars of God. I will set enthroned on the mount of assembly, on the utmost heights of the sacred mountain. I will ascend above the tops of the clouds. I will make myself like the Most High." Again, that's Isaiah chapter 12, verses 12 and 14. So you might want to go back and review this a little bit. But did you notice something about the scripture we just read? It's the supersized ego. I will, I will, I will, I will, I will. 5 times in those 3 verses from Isaiah 14. I will, I will, I will, I will. So now let's look at another verse here. And this is from Ezekiel chapter 28, verses 14 through 17. It's a little bit of a length here to this, so follow along. "You were anointed as a guardian cherub, for so I ordained you. You were on the holy mount of God. You walked amongst the fiery stones. You were blameless in your ways from the day you were created till wickedness was found in you." So the devil was a created being. "Through your widespread trade you were filled with violence, and you sinned. So I drove you in disgrace from the mount of God. And I expelled you, O guardian cherub, from among the fiery stones. Your heart became proud on account of your beauty, and you corrupted your wisdom because of your splendor. So I threw you to earth. I made a spectacle of you before kings." Again, that's Ezekiel chapter 28, verses 14 through 17. So here, we got this image in our mind, I think, a lot of times, of this old ugly thing. The devil's an old ugly thing. He's red and he's got horns and stuff. But here in this particular passage of scripture, we're talking about his beauty. He had a majestic appearance, and he was kind of in love with himself. So, have you ever seen a person that's really beautiful and they're kind of like primping all the time and got a big ego and they get their way all the time? Well, that's kind of just a little bit of how Satan is. He's a lot more than that, but that's a little bit. He kind of gives you a little clue of what he's like. So the scripture we just read tells us that Satan became proud because of his beauty, and he ruined his wisdom because of it. He's got a real self-image problem. He's in love with himself. So his self-worship led to his fall from heaven. And he took quite a number of his little helpers with him. 1/3 of the angels in heaven went along with him. They fell with him. They joined his side. So let's read a couple more places, and these are going to be out of Revelation and Jude, the book of Jude. So they're right at the end of the Bible. So Revelation chapter 12, verse 9. The great dragon was hurled down, that ancient serpent called the devil, or Satan, who leads the whole world astray. He was hurled to the earth and his angels with him. And let's read now from, let's go on in another passage in Revelation chapter 12. It's verses 3 and 4. Another sign appeared in heaven, an enormous red dragon with 7 heads and 10 horns and 7 crowns on his head. His tail swept 1/3 of the stars out of the sky and flung them to earth. So now we see the red dragon allusion in Scripture. So that's probably dealing with his evil nature, not necessarily his appearance. So now our last scripture here is Jude chapter 1, verse 6. And the angels who did not keep their positions of authority, but abandoned their own home, they abandoned heaven. These he has kept in darkness, bound with everlasting chains for judgment on the great day. So I believe that some of the angels that were expelled from heaven along with Satan were actually, some of them are still like demons today that inflict great wrath on the earth. They cause men all kinds of problems. And then some of them are being held in everlasting darkness. Some of them have already been detained. So your enemy and his demon army are here. They're here, whether you want to accept that or not. And it's war. War's on. Spiritual warfare is on. Imagine for a moment you are one of the famed Navy SEALs. But not only a SEAL, but a member of Elite SEAL Team 6. So the best of the best, the bravest of the bravest. What makes you tick? What would be your most important trait if you were a member of SEAL Team 6? What would be your most important trait? I think it would be tenacity. You won't quit on your mission ever. There's never a point in a mission that you would quit. That's the way a SEAL thinks. When your back's against the wall, you're still fighting. So the devil's like that. Failure's not an option for the devil. He's relentless and tenacious. He's like a cornered wild animal. He's on a mission. But why is he so relentless? Because he knows that his time is short. And he wants you to go down with him. He wants to take as many as he can with him. He knows he's beat. He knows he's defeated. But he's still fighting. He's relentless and tenacious. He's very dangerous. So I strongly disagree with some in ministry these days who proclaim that everything is settled, saying that they've read the end of the book and God wins. We know Satan knows that too. And it's true. That's true. God will win in the end. But we must understand that Satan is very, very dangerous because he's still lying. He's still trying to cause God's children to doubt and worry. He's still working to wreck the lives of everyday people through pornography, drugs, and alcohol. And sadly, he's still succeeding. So don't say he's a wimp and he has no power, because he's destroying lives of those around us every day. Every day he's destroying lives. And John 10:10 says, the thief comes only to steal, kill, and destroy. He's out for blood, guys. This is serious business. He's out to ruin you. He's out to ruin your family. He's out to ruin your career. He's out to ruin everything about you. He hates you. And let's read now from 1 Peter chapter 5, verse 8. Be self-controlled and alert. Your enemy, the devil, prowls around like a roaring lion looking for someone to devour. And there's another allusion to the lion in Psalm 104, verse 21. It says, the lions roar for their prey. You ever wonder why a lion roars, though? There are two reasons, I think. There's two reasons. Attitude and hunger. They instinctively know that they have no match as a predator. They are always hungry. If their prey is found unaware, they are doomed. Even though we don't always hear him roar with all the noise in the world today, Satan is still very much on the prowl, and he's still roaring. We just may not be paying enough attention. He's like the original Energizer Bunny. He won't quit lying until he's cast in a lake of fire. I mean, he's going to lie. Still going. Remember that Energizer Bunny commercial? Still going. Well, Satan's still lying. And always remember that his tenacious lying can cause you great harm if you don't recognize it. So we hear so much stuff nowadays. So much information is being passed along. And this is where Satan's living nowadays. This is where he's thriving, is the information. You can't get away from information nowadays. This is the information age. And there's so much potential for him to manipulate information to cause lies. There's lies for no matter what side of the political spectrum you're on. The news is full of lies. Politics is full of lies. It's all a lie. And who's behind that? It's Satan. So, and actually, why is he so good at that? Because he invented it. He's the original liar. So let's take a look at John chapter 8, verse 44. It says, you belong to your father, the devil, and you want to carry out your father's desire. He was a murderer from the beginning. Not holding to the truth. For there is no truth in him. No truth in him. When he lies, he speaks his native language. For he is a liar and the father of lies. That's all he knows. That's all you ever going to hear from Satan. If you hear a lie or something that sounds too good to be true, or just most of the stuff you see on TV or on social media today, he's behind it because it's a lie. Just look at the Dr. Seuss thing that just come about. It's all this ridiculous stuff. I mean, you get upset about it, but you have to realize where it's coming from. People are just buying into what the devil's telling them. So, he wants to badly harm you, and he will use anything we put at his disposal. Things we put at his disposal. He wants us to think that we are unworthy of Jesus. He wants us to feel shame. He wants us to feel alone, unimportant, unloved. And most of all, he wants us to feel hopeless. He wants us to be without hope, guys. Remember, your enemy has a sense of urgency about his mission because his time grows shorter day by day. So there's another scripture we're going to look at as we get ready to wrap up here. It's also from Revelation chapter 12, and it's verse 12. It says, therefore rejoice, you heavens, and you who dwell in them. But woe to the earth and the sea, because the devil has gone down to you. He is filled with fury because he knows that his time is short. Guys, he knows it's going down for him. He knows his end is near. He's going to the lake of fire. But that don't stop him. He wants to hurt you. He wants to hurt your family. We got to learn to recognize that, and we got to fight. We got to fight for our families. We got to fight for our friends. We got to fight for ourselves. And there's only one way to do that. There's only one way to win against Satan. Retreating won't work, and giving in to temptation is definitely not the answer. Sure, we already own the victory, and we must never ever forget that. Our victory came through Jesus Christ on the cross. And when we believe on him, we've won. But there's daily battles. And the real answer to winning the daily battles is attitude. Attitude. We've got to get some attitude about us when it comes to our walk with Jesus. Did you ever think about it that way? Since we belong to King Jesus, we can walk around with some swagger. We can be a little bit cocky, can't we? And that's called Jesus attitude. Guys, we're in a war, and we got to realize that, and we got to fight for our friends and our family. And so, just something to chew on a little bit today as you go through the day, and don't forget to like and share this video so as many people can see it as possible. And if you're interested in a copy of the book, I'll see what I can do to get you a copy. It won't cost you anything. And just spread the good news to somebody today. We'll see you tomorrow.